accident. That was never my intended career path. I thought in high school that I wanted to go into long-term care and work in a nursing home, but I wanted to be an administrator. That was where I thought I would end up, and followed that path. Did some different things in college to kind of get me there, but I did follow that path and went as far as doing an internship to become an administrator, and then realized at the ripe old age of 22, I had no business being in charge of a nursing home. And so kind of fell into the position where I could be the social worker in the nursing home with the degree I had. I have a sociology degree, and so that worked, and kind of happened into that position at the building I did my internship in. And then that kind of morphed into, well, how do I advance my degree or advance my career? How do I make more money? And went back to school to get my master's in social work. That I carry requires a master's degree in a human services field. So the social workers can practice at a bachelor's level, which means you have a 4-year college degree. There are some options out there with a 2-year associate's degree, but they are more limited. So a 4-year bachelor's degree in social work, you can work as a case manager, you can do things in a lot of advocacy roles, but to do any type of therapeutic, true therapy role as a social worker, you have to have a master's degree. I'm a behavior clinician, and I work with people who have disabilities. And so I work with those individuals who have a variety of disability, all intellectual, as well as some physical. So I work with a variety of people. I tend to work with middle to lower functioning individuals. I don't work with a lot of kids. I love kids. I'm a 4-H leader, but don't like to work with kids. So I work with older adults typically. My background, because of long-term care, suits me for those medically fragile people. So I tend to work a lot with older, more medically fragile individuals. So none of my days ever look the same. I do all kinds of different things in a typical day. I might go to a psych appointment with a client. I might meet them in their home to discuss, concerns that they're having. I might meet with them at their day program or their place of work to talk with them about issues or concerns that they're having there. I might consult with families or guardians. I might advocate on their behalf with providers, things like that. So no 2 days are ever the same. My day-to-day is just really listening and trying to help those individuals adapt to the environment around them, or help the environment adapt to them. Sometimes they're not in a position where they can learn a new skill, but so how can we set up the environment to make it better for them? Working with the clients, that's my very favorite part. They are funny. They are smart. I learn something new every day. I have one client who's like fascinated by trains. He has this very complex model train system. And I mean, he knows more about a model train situation than I could ever learn, but he has an intellectual disability, go figure. So, he has trouble reading and writing, but he has this huge sophisticated model train set that he's built. And so it's just really cool to see how they can thrive in an environment where they are supported and encouraged. And that's really cool to me. The bureaucracy, that's easy. The program that I work in is state funded. So it is funded through the Indiana Medicaid program. And it is, it's not a lot of fun sometimes with dealing with regulation from the state or with funding restrictions. We work within a team. And so each client has a case manager. They have me as the behavior clinician. They might have a guardian or an advocate who advocates on their behalf. They might have a residential provider. They might be someone, when I say that, it means someone that lives in like an apartment with another person, and then they have staff that are there to keep them safe. So we have those components. And so there's just a lot of people sometimes to keep happy and to try to, work and negotiate to keep things running smoothly. So that's not always real fun when things aren't going well and you have to start problem solving through those kinds of things. That's not always a ton of fun. licensed social worker, you have to maintain certain number of hours in continuing education every 2 years. Now, I am not licensed. My current job doesn't require, and it's just never something I've pursued. That's on my career to-do checklist still. Just haven't pursued that. So if I were a licensed social worker, I would need to complete, I think it's 20 hours every 2 years. In my role as a behavior clinician, again, one of the red tape kind of things we have to meet is we have to have 10 hours every year of continuing education. That can be across a variety of topics. So I can pick and choose, which, seminars or workshops I want to go to. We have online options to do that. So we kind of pick and choose how we do that. I do have to maintain CPR and first aid training as well. We just renewed that a couple weeks ago, actually. So that is required by the state program that we are CPR and first aid certified. So. Well, that's the really cool part about social work is you can do just about anything, work with any population within social work. I work currently with people with disabilities. I've worked, like I said, in long-term care with older adults. You can work with kids. You can work with families in crisis through the DCS system. You can work in hospice care. You could work with, there's even, like corporate kind of HR positions now that sometimes address, social work needs. You can work with community programs, United Way or food banks, or, there's all kinds of agencies out there that do social work things. You can do private therapy where you get to work with a variety of clients and individuals. You can work with more vulnerable populations. You can work in prisons and jails. You can work with really a variety of people and issues. A lot of those things don't appeal to me whatsoever. I'm definitely more medically driven and, more, I always have teased that I liked white collar social work. That makes me a terrible person. But that's always been my joke. I'm like, some of those things I have no interest in, but lots of people do. And that's really great because those are needed. It's just not my cup of tea. So. I had to think about this, and I think it was a teacher. I loved to play school, maybe not quite at 5, but definitely by like 6, 7, once I got into school, definitely thought I was going to be a teacher. I loved it when the teacher would send home like books that were going to be phased out for the next year. So you got to bring your textbook home, and I would play school all summer long and tape construction paper on the walls and use that as my chalkboard and stuff like that. So I thought I would be a teacher. I have no idea when that faded away. I know it was my freshman year of high school when I decided that I thought I wanted to work in long-term care, but I don't remember when the teacher thing faded off. So. Lots of things. There's lots of things that we learn in doing our projects that are skills we learn for a lifetime and can have. My very first job, I remember we had this trifold board that needed to be redone, and I came in with, this was before Cricut existed, I came in with my stencils and everything, and I banged out a new trifold board, and they're like, where did you learn to do this? This looks so good. I was like, I was a 4-H'er, man, what are you talking about? And those are great skills. I'm glad I have them, but I learned a whole lot more about life and leadership through 4-H that carries me much further than just how to put together a poster board or how to, put a notebook together. I really value what I learned about parliamentary procedure and leading a business meeting and learning to negotiate with other people and how to give and take in a committee and how to, advocate for what I want versus recognizing what is good for the whole. I learned a lot about those things. A few years ago, we went through some kind of mucky stuff at our church, and it required a lot of business meetings from a church perspective. And we were, me and another 4-H leader who is a good friend of mine who goes to our church, we were astonished that people did not know how to run a business meeting and did not know how to make motions and approve things. And we were flabbergasted by it. And we just kind of took for granted that everybody knew that because we learned those skills so many years ago in 4-H. And so I think it's those skills that I carry forward that mean more than, what I learned in in building a project or, and in exploring, activities within a project. And I tell my 4-Hers that in our club all the time. So. have to have passion for what they're doing and what they want to do. Again, not going to get rich as a social worker, can make a living, but not going to, a modest living at that, but not going to get rich doing social work. And I think that you're just recognizing that and wanting to bring change to somebody's life is important. And that's the best advice I can give. And work hard in school, work hard and do the best you can to build that skill set so that you're ready when you hit the job market.